John, thank you very much. And we get into our fireside chat, and I'm delighted to basically introduce our chief guest this evening, Shri Nara Lokesh, a graduate of Carnegie Mellon and Stanford, who has basically got into building a state of Andhra Pradesh as the fastest growing state in the country. This year they have gotten commitment of over $120 billion of investment. Google announced last week a $15 billion data center and AI center itself. And with the speed he's moving, in fact, as a Minister of HRD and Technology, he has basically focused on building state of Andhra Pradesh in a not just ease of doing business, but the speed of doing business itself. So we are delighted that you could join us this evening. I welcome you to the stage. Please join us here. And I do have Shantanu Narayana, who's the chairman and CEO of Adobe and vice chairman of USISPF, taking the discussion forward. Can I request people in the back, just please pay some attention. Please, at least a courtesy to the minister, spend some time there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are we on? Yeah. First, as Mukesh said, it's really a pleasure to be here. And thank you, John, and thank you, Mukesh, for your leadership with USISPF. I'm thrilled to be here with you, Lokesh. Let me first start off by saying, Meeri Kadochinaru, Chala Dhanyavadu. So, I have to show a little bit of my Telugu because, as he knows, I also grew up in Hyderabad, and we have a lot in common, both in terms of spending time in Hyderabad as well as spending time in the Bay Area. I'll start off with a little bit of a story, and then maybe I'll get into the questions for him. When I left 40 years ago for the United States, I was in this small town called Hyderabad and Sikandrabad. It was the Twin Cities. And when I left and I went to the U.S., virtually nobody knew where Hyderabad was on the map in terms of where it was in India. But it was the vision of Sri Naidu that by the time I came back a few Hyderabad. And I think that vision that was created to put Hyderabad on the map, what I've heard from you and what I see is a vision to even eclipse that with what you're doing in Andhra Pradesh, in Amravati. And so why don't I first start off and give you the opportunity to just talk about your vision, your father's vision, and as you said, you're actually a third generation in terms of giving back to the community. So with that, why don't you start?
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mukesh, for having me here. Shantanu ji, thank you very much for hosting the fireside chat. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lokesh Nara. I am the HRD IT Electronics Minister for the state of Andhra Pradesh. A little bit of my background. I did my bachelor's at Carnegie Mellon, worked at the World Bank, a Stanford MBA, came back to the family business. We run one of India's largest private sector dairy company. Then my wife came back from Stanford, kicked me out of the business. I ended up in politics in 2013. I'm a third generation politician, second generation entrepreneur, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I keep telling my wife, in business, what I could have done in a lifetime, I get to do it in 5 years in Indian politics. So that's a bit of my background. The state that I represent is a $180 billion economy, aspiring to be a $2.4 trillion economy. The government was voted in the last 17 months back. We've attracted so far $120 billion worth of commitment. All that is getting grounded as we speak. Two of the marquee investments which we're particularly proud of. One is, of course, Google, who are now investing close to $15 billion. And this is India's single largest FDI investment ever. So we are particularly proud of that. Second one, of course, is ArcelorMittal building India's largest steel city in Visakhapatnam, south of Visakhapatnam. And this got closed over a Zoom call. So speed of doing business is our unique selling point. But I'll give you two more reasons why you should consider Andhra Pradesh. First one, of course, is speed. The second one being our leader, Mr. Naidu, has a track record of building cities, and we are out to do it all over again, this time at a state scale. Third is, in India, I'm sure you would have heard of Double Engine Sarkar, which is the federal and the state government being from the same political establishment. Yes, there are quite a few Double Engine Sarkar states, but there's only one Double Engine Bullet Train Sarkar, and that is in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Andhra Pradesh is spearheading all the reforms that Government of India wants us to deliver. All of you would have heard the term Namo. That's Narendra Modi. No, it's Naidu and Modi ji. So we have the Namo in Andhra Pradesh. So if you are not yet sold on investing in Andhra Pradesh, I think after the fireside chat, I look forward to catching up. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks a lot. And again, may I please ask the people at the back to give, our chief guest the honor of listening to him. Maybe if you are next to somebody who's talking, you can just put them on the spot and ask them to, stop talking. But let me start off with something that you talked about, namely speed of doing business. And everybody talks about the opportunity in India. But one of the issues is that they talk about, the speed is not always what it needs to be. And you've given two examples, whether it's Google with 13 months or ArcelorMittal. So tell me how you're accomplishing the aspect of not only attracting people, and the momentum is incredible, but this aspect of doing speed. What is different, and how are you in Andhra Pradesh making sure that you continue to focus on that?
No, it's technology and people. Technology comes in where we are looking at policies. We are using AI to compare it to other states. We are looking at coming up with best-in-class policy. The second part is, as a company, once you apply, we actually compare your application with other applications using AI and looking at how can we give best-in-class incentives and attract you to Andhra Pradesh. The second part, the other side of the coin is, people. Relationships matter. And if you look at Mr. Naidu and his track record for now almost 4.5 decades, he has an amazing Rolodex, and we're just leveraging upon it. And once we shake hands that we are going to invest in Andhra Pradesh, it's no longer your project, it becomes our project. And I'm sure partners here who have already looked at Andhra Pradesh know it. We create a WhatsApp group. I'm sure Meta is happy with me mentioning WhatsApp here. We create a WhatsApp group, and then we are in touch, we follow it through. Anywhere things get stuck, we are very frank and open with each other, and we sort of look at how can we sort of streamline it. And it's a great lesson that as a state we can learn. So the next partner who's coming into our state doesn't go through the same process all over again.
I think a big reason why India actually has been so successful on the global stage is, to your point, the investment in education. And in the past, that used to be engineering institutes, which were world famous. But I was inspired to hear that you're talking actually about AI literacy and what you're doing to make sure that it's the next generation of skills that you're investing in. Maybe you can share with people a little bit more about how you're doing this in a field that is so evolving as we speak, namely in AI.
No, honestly, all of us are learning. It's clear that AI and then quantum is the next frontier for us. So, as earlier I was telling, we are very focused on the cluster-based approach, where we look at not only bringing in the companies, but the entire ecosystem associated with it. And education plays a very important role. So we're using AI as a tool, of course, to impart education, but we're also working with the industry to revamp curriculum in all our colleges and universities. And I'm working hard, hopefully I'll be able to get it through, is to recreate the ISB model for the AI university. I believe that is going to enable us to lead from the front. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that Mr. Naidu has been talking about skill census. While other political parties talk about caste census, we are talking about skill census. It's easy said than done, because we need to skill assess across multiple traits. Mr. Naidu is a great visionary. I mean, all of us can accept that. But then execution falls on people like me. So he said skill census. I said, great. I was so excited. I tried it and I failed the first time. I did it in my own constituency. But now you'll be surprised to hear we're using AI. So if you're an AC mechanic, we're using conversational AI to assess your skill level. We're asking, like, tell me a problem, and then how you went about solving the problem. So we are able to assess a carpenter, an AC mechanic, to an AI engineer, and then create this entire ecosystem where skill, upgradation or skill development, if I may, is tailor-made. So I think that's what makes Andhra Pradesh again very unique in the way we're doing things.
The ambition that you have shown in creating a brand new city, I mean, I think we all have to go back to maybe Chandigarh being the last city that was actually a planned city in terms of creation. To even think about creating a brand new city with the infrastructure that you're trying to invest in Amravati, I mean, that is an incredibly daunting task. Maybe you can speak a little bit to the scale of what you're trying to do in Amravati and, how that's proceeding.
See, Mr. Naidu has a track record of building cities. And as you shared, Hyderabad, Secunderabad, Cyberabad. It's a very similar model. So you have Vijayawada, Guntur, and then you have Amravati now coming up. So when the state got split, we were capitalless. So we had to go about figuring out where we would position our new capital. So this is right off the banks of River Krishna. And this is a city designed, planned by Singaporeans. They brought in a lot of their expertise, their knowledge. And then we're working with Government of India on various funding models. We're done with the first part. So we're going about executing it. Because honestly, it's India's time. As John has said, India is either going to be number one. If we don't do our job right, number two. We as in politicians. We have a potential to be number one. That means we need to build new cities. While existing cities are getting choked, we should use the existing infrastructure but build new ecosystems. What we've done is we've made farmers part of the entire ecosystem. So 30,000 farmers came forward, gave their land, we pooled all the land, created all the infrastructure, developed land back to them and part of it to the state. So I believe this is a model that's workable, and this is a model that I believe that could lead the way for India to build new cities and ecosystems.
I always say that when I grew up, people used to say, go west, young man. I really believe that today, if anybody is growing up in the US, you'd say, go east, young man. But maybe just a message to the people here in terms of those who are considering investment in India and in Andhra Pradesh. Why you think, as you pointed out, it's India's time. And then I don't know if we have time for a few questions, but I'd just like to give you this opportunity to tell them all the things that you've been sharing with us as a board of what's exciting and happening.
I'm sure quite a few of you are from California. So you think about Andhra Pradesh as California of the East. So we have an amazingly long coastline, a beautiful cities, ecosystem getting built across the state. For people who have followed Hyderabad and its growth trajectory, there's a leader who has a track record and is sharing with the board that it is India's time, and in India it is Andhra's time. What you're seeing is history getting created in front of your eyes. It could be with Google, it could be the project we have done with Meta, it could be the investment that ArcelorMittal is now doing. We are creating history. And I request all of you to come visit us, see what we are doing, and please don't miss this bus. Together we can create history. And coming back to John, India will be number one. The question is, can we do it before 2047? With that agenda, please come, visit us, and we'll make it a worthwhile trip together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have time? If there's any questions, okay, maybe, do you have a few more minutes to ask? Okay.
Thank you, sir. Hi, Arun Deep here from the Hindu newspaper. I'm just curious. A lot of states in their electronics and semiconductor manufacturing plans are talking about how much the diaspora coming back is helping them in terms of, experts who are abroad. So in Andhra, what has been the role in this industrial renewal of people who have spent a long time in the US coming back and being part of this new growth story?
No, that's a very valid question. Brain drain to brain gain, if I may. I think that was your question. We are seeing a lot of interest for youngsters who spend a decade or less than a decade in the West looking forward to coming back. And with the kind of ecosystems and clusters that we are building, I've shared with the board that we are looking at a very decentralized development. And if there's something that we can learn from our neighbors, is the power of cluster. So take electronics manufacturing. How can I get the 1,000 companies that end up creating the entire ecosystem that then Apple takes and makes an amazing iPhone? So we're looking at building multiple clusters. Work's already done. They're at different stages. That's what I call as the verticals. And horizontal is where education comes in. That's where my role comes in. One is education, then skill development. We are doing a lot of testing ecosystem and of course certification ecosystem. This alone is not enough. We need to build a vibrant social ecosystem. So we work closely with tourism ministry, with excise ministry to look at how can we have progressive policies that can also enable us to create a vibrant ecosystem. So while we're looking at blue collar jobs, white collar jobs, hospitality is also very important. So 5 years when we started our journey, we said 50,000 rooms, 50,000 keys. So far we've done 8,500 keys. So we are looking at a state that will develop across sectors, but also creates a vibrant ecosystem. So that's what I think will make us very unique compared to other states in India.
Maybe I'll ask you one question on that as well. When I see your portfolio, it's really inspiring to see that you are both HRD as well as IT. Maybe you can speak a little bit to, why both of those are better together and what you're doing uniquely, given you have those two incredibly important initiatives.
Shantanu, I wished I thought it that way when I took the portfolios. But see, I love a challenge. If you look at my journey as a politician, I've always chosen the road less traveled. I contested in assembly, which my party didn't win for 40 years, and I lost first time. But I stuck at it. 5 years I worked hard. I won it with one of the highest ever majority in Andhra Pradesh's history. So I love to take the road less traveled. Education is one such portfolio. Historically, heavyweights are not positioned into education. They prefer, industries or power, so on and so forth. But I truly felt education is one portfolio that can really transform lives. You're a beneficiary of great education. I'm a beneficiary of great education. It's changed the way who we are, our exposure. So I felt it's impetus on me, that to being a Stanford MBA and a Carnegie Mellon undergrad, to take such an important portfolio and look at very fundamental changes at primary school all the way up to skill development, as I call lifelong learning. And why IT? I felt that that portfolio will help me balance things out to understanding where is the market heading. It's important that I understand from leaders like you, what's the next frontier? And then go back to my department and say, okay, I can see the visibility. 20 years from now, these are the skill sets that are required for the youth of India. And then work backwards in terms of a curriculum. So yes, Andhra Pradesh, I think, is the only state which has HRD, IT under one minister. Thank you.
Well, you've been extremely generous with your time, so thank you. You talked about Stanford and Carnegie Mellon. Hopefully you think HPS is still pretty good, in terms of what we were able to do, and I'm still a Manavadu in terms of, being part of you. But please, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Shantanu.
Well, I just want to say thank you to Shantanu and Nara Lokesh for the wonderful conversation. Investment in Andhra continues to go up, and we have one of our board members, Sachit Ahuja, Tillman Global, they are committing to invest 15,000 crore in Andhra Pradesh. Come, Shazam, come.
Once that's over, then we'll take a picture.
Why don't we join us?
No.
Balance our photo. Because you come this way, no? Come down. I'll grab the mic.
There you go. Well, let me have the final session. I just saw Ken Jester, our former ambassador to India, just walk in, welcome, and then we do have Ambassador Rowan from Israel. He was just here, and so you'll be networking with them. We have a few folks, our board members from Exxon and other organizations. But more importantly, you have to understand that while we focus on U.S.-India relationship from a economic trade perspective, we also have an arm called U.S.-India Friendship Alliance. And this organization during COVID time raised the largest funding, larger than the U.S. government, and had supplies coming into India. For example, we were able to bring in roughly 33,000 oxygen concentrators. And those were sourced in China. And I do recall FedEx, Raj Subramaniam, who is a board member, gave us a couple of planes to move them every day. And I recall the Chinese objected oxygen concentrator going from China to India that time. So we had them routed to Tokyo, and from Tokyo we brought them back to India itself. And I have to give credit to Amitabh Kant and the team there. As soon as the plane landed, within 1 hour, those oxygen concentrators were in trucks going to different cities itself. So I just want to applaud my team to make that happen itself. And so we have a short video because I think it's important. Is the tough times shows the color of your friends who can step up. And that's the time we had to step up. We reached out to, for example, to Indian Air Force to pick up large oxygen tanks from Stuttgart, large cryogenic tanks from Singapore and Thailand. And so it was an operation which we just rolled up our sleeve and got it done. So just watch the video on U.S.-India Strategic Friendship Alliance.
Born out of the COVID-19 pandemic, our genesis coincided with these despondent times. Faced with an unprecedented crisis, we decided to act, and so our story began. Who are we? We are the U.S.-India Friendship Alliance, USIFA, the strategic philanthropic arm of the U.S. We are dedicated to building positive social impact in the United States and India. As the pandemic swept through India, we swept into action. USIFA expanded its on-the-ground efforts by mobilizing critical medical equipment to address severe equipment shortages in India. We addressed the challenges of COVID-19, impacting tens of thousands of human lives. The clarion call was an urgent need for help. USIFA partnered with the government of India and distributed equipment to all India's 28 states and union territories. Since then, USIFA has continued its efforts to improve lives, build opportunities, and strengthen the partnership between the United States and India. We provided livelihood support to 5,000 impoverished widows under the Lumba Foundation to become economically independent through skills training in a range of sectors. We supported rural artisans in Gujarat through a partnership with Anand National University to upskill artisans, support sustainable livelihoods, and preserve cultural heritage. We donated computer sets to underserved schools in India's Darjeeling region, USIFA's mission is to strengthen the bridge between two leading democracies underpinned by shared democratic values. We intend to deepen people-to-people ties, which drive positive impact in both countries through cultural exchanges, economic ties, and skills exchanges. However, we can't do this alone. We are not just counting on you, but we need you. We have dedicated our time and resources towards underserved communities. USIFA is founded on the belief that when corporate purpose aligns with shared national and global priorities, it can become a powerful catalyst for stronger bilateral relations and inclusive growth. So don't just witness the change, come and be part of the change. Join us in 2026. Connect with us at usifa.org and Friendship Alliance at usispf.org.
Well, our mission, thank you. We have roughly 450 corporate members in our consortium, and our objective is to how do we leverage each one of them and focus on some of the social effort between the two countries, work with our team and join us from that perspective. Once again, I'd like to say thank you to our sponsors, Boeing, Flex, Caterpillar, ExxonMobil, MasterCard, Meta, Wins, Cummins, Johnson & Johnson, LinkedIn, and Lockheed Martin. Once again, thank you to sponsors. Do engage and network with the board members this evening. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for joining us. Thank you.